When I was a junior in high school, I got the opportunity to go with my high school band to Disney World. Has anybody been to Disney World? A few of you? Okay. All right, so some of you know, it's a pretty cool place. I was having a really good time, and most things were awesome. You know, there's rides and there's entertainment, and most important was my friends were there, and we're just hanging out for like a week, and it was really, really fun. There was just one huge problem with Disney World, and that is that they are what you would call a Coke-sponsored place, okay? Yeah, some of you may like that, but I did not, because that means that there was something lacking. You know what that was? Yeah, so see, by about the third day, I would walk into a restaurant and I wouldn't even ask about food. I would say, do y'all have Dr. Pepper? And the answer was always the same, no. They had Coke, they had Sprite, and they had water. Coke is gross, Sprite is okay, and then, water's boring. And so I'm sitting here drinking Sprite every single day, and that's all that I like that they had at those places, and it has no caffeine. By the third day, I'm grumpy, okay, because I haven't had caffeine in a long time, and anyways, it's just kind of ruining the trip for me, and I know it's kind of silly, but I mean, you guys know, especially used to, I was like an addict, okay, but, so here I am, I'm walking, we're outside of our hotel, and I'm walking along with my group of friends, and I look over, and my friend Will, in his hand is a bottle of that sweet nectar from heaven. Okay, however it was inspired, and he is just drinking a bottle, and I go, where did you get that? Because I'm like, I gotta get some. And apparently, okay, we're allowed to bring one suitcase on the plane, and in a certain size and all that. It only let us have one, and so you can only pack. And we're there for a week, and certain things. And so he was packing the essentials. I gotta have pants, gotta have gotta have shoes, and a case of Dr. Pepper. It's what he stuck inside of his suitcase. And so he brought a case, and I said, "Can I have some?" And he goes, "Yeah, you can buy it." And I was like, "Okay, cool." He goes, "That'll be $10." For one bottle, okay? And I was like, we're friends, right? No, he was like, yeah, this is gonna be $10. And I thought about it. Have you ever just really, really wanted something, like really wanted it? I paid my $10, and it wasn't even refrigerated. It was hot, okay? And I got my $10 Dr. Pepper, and it tasted extra good because it cost $10. But I don't know if you've ever had something that you just really, 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 really wanted. Like maybe you remember when you were begging your parents for your first phone, okay? Maybe that was it. Some of you are like, I'm still begging for my first phone. I understand, it'll come, it'll happen. Maybe it's something you really wanted to be on a team, right? You really wanted to make this thing or get to go somewhere. For a lot of you, you're thinking, okay, it's not a what I wanted, it's a who, right? And there's like this girl walked in, right, guys? And you're like, thank you, Lord, for spending so much time when you created her, right? Or something like that. In fact, I've seen guys, when they really want like a girl that they like, they'll do all kinds of stuff. Like start working out, like buy new clothes. I've seen guys get new haircuts. I mean, junior high boys think if they just empty the entire bottle of Axe spray, like they're walking through the hall and like flies are dying, like because of the smell. It's like, this will make girls like me, right? Like, I don't know, like they try, and girls aren't much better either. They're like, maybe if I put 15 layers of concealer on, like, I gotta get the contouring, I gotta do that. I'm sorry, we get both sides there, okay? And they're trying to, do that because they found someone that they think that they want. We've all kind of wanted something. So I got a question that I wanted to ask you, and it's actually a question that Jesus asked some of his first disciples. So one day Jesus is walking along, right? And some guys just start following him. He didn't even ask them to follow him. They just heard that he was probably the Messiah. So they started following him, and this is what happens. It says, Jesus turned, and seeing them following, so those guys following me, okay, he said to them, "What do you seek? What do you seek? And what are you looking for?" Now they just say, "Teacher, where are you going?" And essentially they're like, "We just want to go where you're going. That's what we're seeking." But I think this is a great question for you and us to say, what are you seeking with your life? What are you pursuing? What is it that you really want? And there's a lot of different answers that we might give, right? And different phases in our life, and we're going to kind of talk through that. But, for example, where are all the single people? Who's single? Anybody single? Isn't it great to be single? That was not very enthusiastic. There's something like, what are you talking about? Like, Yeah, for some reason, whenever you talk about being single, most people are kind of like, no, it's not good. I want to be in a relationship. And in fact, a lot of times when people are single, that is the only thing that they're really thinking about. It's like, I got to find somebody. I really want to be in a relationship. And they're seeking that, okay? And maybe for some of you, that's something that you really feel like you're seeking. Or, maybe there's, like we said a while ago, there's some like group you want to be a part of. Or maybe you're seeking your first post with 1,000 likes, okay? Or like that's your thing, I gotta get there. Or 10,000, or somebody like, 10,000, I got that along. Okay, you got your thing, you gotta get some sort of a thing on here, or I don't know, we got these different things that you're looking for. But this is what, if you think about it, all these things, maybe you're trying to get your first car or a better car, like one that actually goes places every time. Or I don't know what you're seeking, what you're looking for. Most of these things that we talk about that we're seeking, what we're looking for is happiness, to be truth. Like you think that the relationship, if you could just get that relationship, you'd be happy, right? If I could just have this thing, have this stuff in my life, then I would be happy. If I could get this, then I would be happy. If I could get out of this situation, then I would be happy. If I could move to this place, when I graduate high school and I get to leave and go to college, and then I'll be happy, or whatever it is. And we have these things if we're seeking, we're hoping for, we're wanting, we're pursuing maybe, and we think, though, those will be the things that lead to happiness, that help us to be happy. But, happiness is a little bit tricky. Because some of you thought, okay, if I can just get in a relationship with this person, then I'll be happy. And then you got in that relationship, and it was bad. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it was the opposite. It was happy for like 3 days, and then you're like, what did I get into? And then you're trying to figure out how to make them break up with you so you don't look bad, and like all this kind of stuff, and it's like, oh, this is not happy. In fact, some of you have experienced this in your own family, but if you think about this, you've seen it in others, or either in your family or somebody else's, this thing that happens, and that is when, it's crazy to me, when two people who are married and they get a divorce. And if you think about this, a few years before, they were so in love that they were like, I can't be with anybody but you. You are what makes me tick. You what makes me happy. And they got together and they put on a white dress and a tux and walked down in front of all of their friends and said, I do. And then a few years later, I hate you more than any person I can't even breathe the same air. Okay, you know what I'm talking about? And you've seen that, and like, okay, this is what's so tricky about happiness, and I'm not belittling what's happened to them. I know that's complicated, and we won't get into all that, but this is my point. Sometimes we think what will bring us happiness is not the thing that makes us happy. If I can just finally get a better phone, and then you drop it and crack it, right? Or then, you finally got the new one, you got the 10, and your friend walked in with the 11, right? And it's like, okay, and just one thing, it's just so many things like that. I got 10,000 likes, oh, they got 50, bummer. And it's just whatever it is, we got this thing, and we think all these things are gonna bring happiness, and they end up not. Happiness is like an American, pursuit, right? It's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? But I would say that what I would maybe help you understand is that seeking all of those things, and even seeking happiness, is not the best way to live. It's not how that we're meant to live. And if you're always seeking those things, you're always going to be seeking something that's just further away than you can get to. And there's a better way to honestly to find happiness than seeking it and seeking the stuff that we think will make us happy. And there's a guy named David. Well, actually, there's a lot of people that wrote about this in the Bible. We're going to look at one from David who wrote a whole lot about seeking God and wrote a whole lot about happiness and blessings and things like that. And so let's just introduce ourselves a little bit to this idea with what he says about being happy and about God. He says, happy are the people whose God is the Lord. Happy or blessed are the people whose God is the Lord. So what does that even mean? You can have someone or something as your God that is not the Lord. He could have said, people, happy are people whose God is something else. And a lot of times people have something else that they think is going to make them happy. It becomes like their God. See, a lot of things can be your God. Like some people, money is their God. Now, I don't mean that they're singing praise and worship songs to money. They're not going, money, money, you make the darkness tremble. No, it's not that, okay? They're not singing praise. It's not that kind of a God, okay? They don't have an idol bowing to it. But what it means is their chief pursuit in life is money. The main thing they focus on and go after is money. For some people, it's fame or success or relationships, or sex, or one of these things. There's all these things that people might put in this place of Lord, and they would say, this is the thing that's gonna make me happy, this is the thing that I'm gonna seek. But David would say, if you really want to experience the fullness that God has for you, the blessings, the happiness that God has for you, which you must make as your God, as the Lord, the true Lord, our God. We have to make him our Lord. And when we do that, then we find, because all that other stuff, honestly, it's a lie. It won't actually make you happy. And we think that it will. Isn't that funny? So I was thinking about what would be the big thing? Like some people would think that would make you happy and keep you happy. So if we were really close to the Super Bowl, right? It's coming up just in a couple weeks here. And if you think about it, winning the Super Bowl is the biggest thing in sports. There's nothing bigger in sports than winning the Super Bowl. It includes money, it's fame, it's the ultimate success in sports. And yet, over and over and over, I have read these stories, just like this one that I read yesterday. A reporter from ESPN was interviewing Aaron Rodgers a few years ago after he won the Super Bowl. And I can't like Aaron Rodgers because he always destroys the Cowboys every single time. But anyways, this is what Aaron Rodgers says right after she's interviewing, and this is what she wrote after interviewing him, as she's a writer for ESPN. When he reflected on everything he had accomplished, he was surprised to realize he was still searching for something else. He sat on the bus as they passed around the Lombardi Trophy, that's right after the Super Bowl, and thought to himself, I hope I don't just do this. I hope that there's something else. I hope that there's more. Come on, he's literally holding the Super Bowl trophy. I hope I don't just do this. There's got to be more than, why? Because, see, that stuff that we think will be it for us is not what we were created to have be the it thing. There's something more. Did y'all ever play the hot and cold game when you were little? Yep. Okay, I'm doing this with my little ones right now. We're teaching them hot and cold. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's where, surely you do. I hope you do. You didn't have a childhood if you did. You would hide something, okay? I'm going to hide this. Okay, I'm not hiding it very good. But you would hide something in a room, right? And then the person wouldn't know where it was. And you would say, all right, you're going to find it. And if they step closer, you would say, warmer. Warmer. And then you'd if you're like I was, you'd be like, you're in the oven. You're standing on the surface of the sun. Okay, and as you go, and then you get further away, colder. Okay, you're in the refrigerator. You're in an ice cream truck in the Antarctic. You're okay. You get the further away, you would get these extreme things, right? So this is what I want you to see. If you are looking to maybe something that you found on here, looking to some people finding you and liking you, to bring you true happiness and satisfaction in this life, you know what's happening, what you're doing? Colder. If you think that some relationship is going to be the thing that makes you happy, that finally, it makes you right inside, colder. And we keep going after all these things, and what are we doing? We're getting colder. I want to show you how to get hotter, okay? You're on fire. I want to help you get on fire and find the thing that find this, how that we really experience what God has for us, and a real life that's not disappointed when you finally got the thing that you thought would be the thing that made you feel satisfied. So we're going to look in Jeremiah 29. This is in the Old Testament, and what the kind of setup is, God has his people, the Israelites, and they are currently away from God. They have rebelled. He's kicked them out of the land. They are out of God's promises. They're out of what God has for them, and that is the way a lot of people live. They're away from God. They don't have what he wants for them. They're not living in his promises. And so then God is talking to them, and he's telling them about when they're going to come back, when they're going to finally be back in where what he has for them. And the same is true for us. And so he's talking to them. He said, when you come back, this is what's going to happen. And he says this is Jeremiah 29:12. Then you will call upon me. You will call upon me, he says, and come to me and pray to me, and I will listen to you. This is really great. When you call upon him, if you will call upon him, he will listen. When you call, he is listening, and he wants you to call upon him. And he says, you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. And I love it. He already told us that he's going to find us, but he just has to tell us, or that we're going to find him. He has to tell us one more time. He keeps going and says, I will be found by you. When will you be found by him? When you seek him with all your heart. Now, think about what that means. So when I got married, you see, I told my wife, I love you with all my heart. Can you imagine if I would have said, I love you with most of my heart? Now, there's some of my heart that still wants to be with this couple other girls, but most of my heart is yours. Now, when you think that's going to work very good, like, no, I mean, I would be dead, right? That would not have worked out. Because you wouldn't say that. That would not be good. And I hope that's not the situation. No, it is, I loved her with all my heart. Now, what does it mean to seek God with all your heart? There is none of my heart that is not seeking him. All of my heart is seeking him. Now, they say, does that mean I can't seek other things? I can't try to get a job? I can't seek a relationship? No. But all of my heart is seeking him. And yeah, I may want a relationship, but that's going to happen through seeking God. I may want to get this job or do this thing or achieve this thing or whatever, but it's going to happen because in my seeking of God, I'm just going to get there through him and not another way. In fact, I'm going to help make this a little bit more clear as we look at how Jesus said, because if we're going to seek God, and this is what I'm hoping that you will decide to seek. When we ask you, what are you seeking? Like Jesus asked his disciples, that you would say, I'm seeking him. I'm seeking God. And so maybe you decide, okay, I'm going to do that. And maybe you even get excited about it. You're like, all right, let's do it. Where do I go, right? Okay, where is he? Okay, it's not like hide and seek. I'm like, he's in the closet. And you run over there and over, Jesus. Okay, it's not that simple. Okay, it's a little different than that. So I want to help you see. In fact, Jesus tells us how to seek. And I'm going to make it clear for us, and we're going to look at a time when Jesus was talking about worry, and he was teaching people not to worry, and he's like, hey, you guys are stressed out, like you're worried about, what you're going to wear and your clothes and like where you're going to live and all this kind of stuff, and this is what you're worried about. And your list may have been different than Jesus' list, but you probably have some stuff that you're seeking and worried about. You're like, how am I going to get a date, and how am I going to go here, and what's going to happen when I graduate, and worried. He would say, okay, he said, don't worry about that. And then he said this is why you shouldn't worry about it. For the pagans run after these things. Now, pagans means unbelievers. These are people that don't know God. They seek after these things. And your heavenly Father knows that you need them. Okay, you're seeking after this, your heavenly Father knows. He knows you need him. Okay, and then he says how we seek him. But seek first. Now I want to point something out. It says seek first, not seek only. And I want to point that out because if you think seek only, then you'll never do this, because seek only is not real life. Like, oh, I only seek God only. I'm going to go to do nothing but pray, read my Bible, and have to eat but I'll eat while I'm reading my Bible because I can't stop seeking. I can't do anything but seek. Okay, that's not real life. That's not what that's talking about. It says seek first. And I'll explain how that looks in your life practically. But he is first in all of those things. See, all of my heart and all of my seeking, it's him first. So he says, seek first his kingdom and righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. All these things that you're worried about, all these things he knows what will make you happy. He's going to take care of those things when we seek him first. Now, he says his kingdom and his righteousness, which... Do you ever read the Bible and go, well, it was almost helpful, and then I had no idea what it meant, right? Does that ever happen to you? Okay, some of you are going, okay, I'm going to seek him and his kingdom and his righteousness. Okay, this one made very easy sense to the people then. To us, it's just words we don't use much. Okay, his kingdom is the area where his will is happening, where his will is what is done. And okay, and his righteousness, that is when we are obeying him, when we are going according to his ways. So let's think of his kingdom as his will. Say will. His righteousness is living according to his ways. Say ways. All right, so let me simplify it. Seek God's will and you seek God's ways. When you are seeking his will for your life, when you are seeking his ways and what he has told us to do and to obey his ways, you will find yourself close to him. There is this amazing thing that happens when I decide I want to do God's will and I want to live according to his ways. As I do those things, something happens inside and you suddenly realize you're close to him. So let me make it like practical sound. So we've talked a little bit about relationships, so let's do that a little bit more. So you want to be in a relationship, or maybe some of you are actually in an age when it might be time to start doing that. Some of you are kind of younger and you need to probably just do other things for a while. We'll talk about that next month. But relationship series in February, it's going to be good. But maybe you say you're at that place. Like it's time maybe to date or to find a relationship, right? So here's the thing. I'm going to do everything. I'm seeking him, God's will, and his ways in everything. So, hey, here's this person I like. They're cute. I'm going to seek his will. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask God, is this your will? And if I feel in my heart he says no, guess what I'm going to do? I'm not going to date him. I'm going to ask, how do I do this in your ways? And And what does he say about relationships? Well, he talks about dating people who are yoked the same, like they have the same beliefs as you, dating people and all these different things we go on. There's gonna be things that you don't do in a relationship because of his ways, right? So everything I do, I may be pursuing this relationship, but I'm going to do it through his ways and through his will. And when I'm doing that, this is amazing. I am walking through my life and I'm going, God, how would you want me to do this? What does your word say about how to do this? And you're thinking about this. Guess what you realize is happening? All of a sudden you're walking through your life and God's right there. He's right with you because you're seeking his will and you're seeking his ways. And when you do that, you find him. You find him right there in the middle of it, and he'll walk you through, and you'll begin to just sense him and sense his will and his voice in your life, and he will begin to direct you and guide you as you seek his will and you seek his ways in your life. See, when I got, before I got married, my wife we were dating, and actually even before we were dating, I was trying to get to where she would want to date me, right? And I pursued her. I seeked her, right? I was seeking after her. I was doing what I could because I was like, this girl is way too pretty to want to be with me, okay? I mean, I bought weights, okay? I was like working out. And I would buy these like drinks that would like hype you up, like they make your skin tingly. Like I would drink, I was like, okay, good workout. Okay. I was like trying to do this stuff. I mean, whenever I was gonna see her, I wore my best clothes. Like, you know, you have junker clothes and you have good clothes. Okay, I needed everything I could help, anything that would help. I was doing everything I could to, impress her. And once we started dating, I was buying her nice things and like taking her places to, do fun stuff and all that. And I was just pursuing her. But when I got married, I kept pursuing her. Like, wouldn't it be weird if we got married and I was like, yeah, we don't talk anymore. No, that's not really necessary. We got married, we're done. Like, I don't need to like do anything for her, buy her anything, find out what she likes. I don't care about that. We're married. I already did the hard work. Like, no. I still pursue her. I still go after her. Sometimes one time I just showed up at home, I said, all right, everybody, because we have kids now, I was like, get in the car. And she's like, what are we doing? I was like, surprise. And I drove her to the ice cream place, right? And just because I knew she likes it, I was like, and I'm discovering more of what she likes, and I'm doing those things. I write her notes, I do these things. Why? Because I know I'm still pursuing her, Now, this is why I tell you that. See, some of you gave your life to Jesus one day, and you didn't pursue him ever again. You were interested in God. God is the one who's going to forgive me. He can help me get through this. And you went and you said, Lord, I want you to be the Lord of my life. And you stopped pursuing him. There's so much more to your relationship and life with God. You got to keep pursuing him. Keep learning what he likes and getting to know him in a greater way. And you know what? As I pursue my wife, there's something great happens. I draw closer to her. She draws closer to me. And you know what? If you will begin to pursue God and go after God and just put your whole heart after him, everything that you know what's going to happen? You're going to draw near to God, and he's going to draw near to you. Jesus' brother James wrote that. He said, hey, you draw near to God, he's going to draw near to you. He wants to be close to you. You can be close to him. So many of you know I have a 3-year-old daughter, and one of her favorite games is hide and seek. And so I come home a lot and she'll say, Daddy, let's play hide and seek. I'm like, okay. And so she goes, cover your eyes and count to 10. And I'll go like this and she'll go, I'm gonna go hide in the closet. I'm like, no, Emery, you can't tell me where you're gonna hide. And I say, okay, Daddy, cover your eyes. I'm gonna go hide in the closet. No, Emery, stop telling me where you're gonna hide. And she always tells me where she's gonna hide. And so then I'll pretend like I'm looking other places, right? I'm like, is she under here? She goes, Daddy, I'm in here. Okay, and she's like, okay, so then finally it's her turn to hide. Now, whenever I hide from her, I always leave, I get behind the door and I'll leave my legs sticking out, or something, because so she'll find me. Well, one day, it was just me and her home, and no one else was home, and so we were playing hide and seek, and I hid really good. Like, she's not gonna find me this time. And after a minute or so, she panics, okay? She thinks she's left at home because I was hiding. And I hear this panic voice go, Daddy. And I run out of the place. I run straight to her. I'm right here. And she goes, I thought I lost you. And I was like, no, I'm right here. The second I heard her voice, I ran. And I want you to know this. Your Heavenly Father is not hiding. And if you will call on his name, you will find him running to meet you because he wants to be with you. He wants to know you. He wants to walk every day with you. He wants to show you that life that he has for you. He wants you to live in his goodness. So will you seek him? Do you want to know him? Some of you, you're a believer, you know God, but you haven't been seeking him. Certainly not first, and not with your whole heart. So make a decision. Tonight I'm going to call upon him. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this message, let us know by leaving a comment below. And don't forget to click the subscribe button. We'll see you next time.